Welcome back to yet another paleontology video.
For many of us, the most startling dinosaurs were the most fierce and scary ones.
Now, normally I wouldn't complain about Jurassic Park anymore, but at least use real dinosaurs, not a hybrid like Indominus Rex.
Since we were kids, we always dreamt about finding some fossilized species buried in our backyard.
How many kids would even be interested in that? Let's know that it's a thing.
That's why today, we'll take you on a walk-in pursuit of the scariest predators. Are you ready for the adventure? Let's begin. Number 10. Troodon.
Okay, so first of all, Troodon does not exist, and second of all, the Troodon looks like it's from a video game. There is no way in hell that a Troodontid would look like a dromaeosaur.
It's possible that it is the smallest dinosaur of our journey.
I think that's not a Troodontid, that's something else.
But it doesn't mean you're going to play around with it, because it is a dangerous predator, and you might end up as its most delicious snack. He will enjoy feeling your bones creak while you're eating. Ouch! It lived at the end of the Cretaceous period, approximately 75 million years ago in North America.
So the Stenonacosaurus lived around 76 million years ago with a possible late Maastrichtian record. So I guess this mistake is forgivable.
Its name means hurting tooth,
Wounding tooth.
due to the small saws around each tooth in its mandible. It measured 6.5 feet long and 3.2 feet tall,
Stenonacosaurus reached up to 8.2 feet in length.
and weighed between 59.5 to 99.2 pounds.
Stenonacosaurus had a mass of around 77 pounds, so it falls between that range.
This little but deadly dinosaur had really long and thin members, which made it run and move faster when catching a prey. It used to hunt in groups because that way,
Yes, they do hunt in groups, but in the form of loose gangs and not a pack.
the victims wouldn't be able to run and escape.
Of course, there's no way in hell that even a group of Troodontids would want to deal with something as big as a ceratopsid.
Its pair of big eyes pointed to the front, which gave it the capacity of having a binocular vision. The Troodon is considered one of the most intelligent non-avian dinosaurs since its brain was so large that it allowed it to have an of 5.8.
What? I assume this segment was cut off because of copyright.
Which means it had more brains and, consequently, greater intelligence. This was markedly superior to that of the most herbivorous dinosaurs that had a quotient of 1, and of carnivores that had 2.
Keep in mind that you are generalizing herbivores and carnivores. What about herbivore and carnivore types, these dinosaurs and stuff?
Without a doubt, this little one would graduate at the Cretaceous with honors. Number 9. Dilophosaurus.
The fact that making this incredibly edgy is just incredible.
This amazing animal lived in the Jurassic period about 200 million years ago,
It lived 193 million years ago.
in what today compromises the territory of North America. Many of you might remember him for his famous appearance in the first Jurassic Park movie.
But it's a modified Dilophosaurus. It didn't have the frills in real life.
The truth is that this dinosaur was, actually, very different and much larger, comparable to the size of an adult brown bear of our present.
Oh, so you think that size is determined by mass? That's good.
One of the most original qualities of this predator is its pair of rounded crests on the head. Also, its jaw was very similar to that of a current crocodile, which was full of rows of sharp and long teeth-like blades. Surprisingly, its skull showed a weak connection between the premaxillary and maxillary bones. This detail led us to think that the Dilophosaurus was a scavenger because its front teeth were too weak,
Well, it is still perfectly capable of hunting.
so it could hardly fall or sustain a fairly large prey. At the end, it was known for sure that this was not an impediment for our scary friend to end up hunting and devouring their prey at lunchtime. Number 8. Spinosaurus.
Of course, we had that inaccurate Spinosaurus shown,
It lived 112 million years ago,
which is wrong. It lived from 99 to 93.5 million years ago.
approximately, during the Cretaceous period, dominating the Cenomanian period, and was found in what is now known as Africa.
North Africa, also 112 million years ago, is way before the Cenomanian.
Its name means spine lizard because it had big vertebral spines sticking out of its back. This incredible predator measured
As if there isn't anything worse than the JP3 spinal model.
39.3 to 59 feet long and could measure 14.7 feet high.
Okay, so these estimates are incredibly broad. On average, Spinosaurus was around 43 to 46 feet in length.
Due to its complex size,
Okay, this is also an outdated Spinosaurus, its tail. Although to be fair, it may just be accurate at the time of making the video.
it weighed from 7 to 9 tons.
Ironically, the lower estimate is actually kinda accurate.
Its famous dorsal sail measured from 5.4 to 6 feet long
It's even longer than that, actually.
and served both for thermoregulation and to change the direction when swimming. It's known that it liked to travel by feet as well as by swimming.
It's not a great swimmer by any means.
Its skull was comprised by a narrow snout, but filled with straight and very sharp conical teeth. Also, it has a small
What even is this model? Is it made for the 1990s?
crest on the upper part of the eyes, which made it very similar in aspect to the Ceratosaurus.
I'm sorry, but I just can't understand how someone would even dare to compare Spinosaurus with Ceratosaurus.
This is the largest known theropod in history.
Longest theropod, not the largest.
Number 7.
One thing that gets me is whenever this guy goes on the list, it always starts off with, this is just unpleasant.
Carnotaurus.
Carnotaurus. Are you kidding me?
This dinosaur of medium size belongs to the theropod family and lived at the end of the Cretaceous period, about 72 million years ago.
I guess this mistake is forgivable since the Carnotaurus lived from 71 to 69 million years ago.
It lived during the Campanian to the Maastrichtian period, being found in what's now known as South America.
71 to 69 million years ago belongs straightly to the Maastrichtian.
The most notorious characteristic of this reptile were the two horns placed on its head right over its eyes. That's why it has that name, which means carnivore bull.
Its name means meat bull. Carno means meat. Carnivore means meat eater.
Some studies affirm that this dinosaur was able to catch prey bigger than it, same as the sauropods.
It doesn't always succeed.
It's known that they had energy and an amazing ease to run, which made them the fastest theropods of big dimensions. Its skull was small but strong. It had some cavities in both sides to lower the weight of the animal. Also, it had the incredible characteristic of extending its mandibles
This Carno is still too awesome bro for my likings.
articulations so that it could have a bigger and effective bite against its victims. Maybe you'd like to have this ability to eat a burger in just one bite, right? Number 6. Allosaurus.
What you shown wasn't the Allosaurus, it was clearly a Tyrannosaurid.
It lived at the end of the Jurassic period, about 161 million years.
You call 161 million years ago end of the Jurassic. It is actually around the beginning of the late Jurassic. Also, Allosaurus lived from 155 to 145 million years ago.
And lived mainly in what's actually known as North American and European territory. It measured 31.8 feet long
It's around 28 feet on average, with the longest estimate of 32 feet.
and weighed 2.3 tons.
Which is again an estimate for the largest definitive Allosaurus.
Its mass is similar to an actual adult Indian rhino. Its skull and teeth were small in comparison to other theropods. That's why it's believed that its hunting strategy was to quietly hunt its prey to later bite them with their strong mandible as if they were axes.
I'm assuming this is made at the time when the axe theory was still considered acceptable.
It is known that these had about 60 D-shaped teeth in its transverse border. The victims of these animals were normally herbivore dinosaurs. One of them would be the famous Stegosaurus, Drinosaurus,
It's Dryosaurus, not Drinosaurus.
and Camptosaurus. It wouldn't be nice to run into this species, not in your dreams. Number 5. Velociraptor. This scary dinosaur lived between 75 and 71 million years ago, at the end of the Cretaceous period in Asia.
75 to 71 million years ago isn't even the end of the Cretaceous period, and also it is just found in Mongolia and the Bayan-Mandahu Formation in China, although that other species in China is in debate.
Jurassic World portrays the Velociraptor as a dinosaur with the size of an adult, but that's not true. The dimensions of these scary predators resembled more to a large peacock. Its aspect also varies a bit with its Hollywood version. Paleontologists have determined that this dinosaur was covered in feathers. As if that wasn't enough, on each of his hind legs it had a sickle-shaped claw of 2.5 inches, which were used to tear their prey.
No, these weren't sharp enough. They're more likely used for climbing trees and stuff, and even do raptor prey restraint.
The Velociraptor used its lightness to pounce on its victims. Once over them, it clawed its claws, used its tail as a counterweight, and flapped so that it can maintain the balance. Only at that moment, it began to bite without any mercy. Number 4. Giganotosaurus.
Giganotosaurus.
This great reptile from South America lived in the Cretaceous period, about 97 million years ago.
It lived from around 99.6 to 95 million years ago.
Its name makes a clear reference to its large size because it could measure between 39.3 feet to 42.6 feet long. They were so big that their skull measured around 5.1 feet long approximately. It weighed between 6 and 8 tons.
This time is the upper estimate, and oh my goodness, these arms just hurt my heart.
And even though it had one of the biggest skulls in its whole species, which made it look disproportionate, its height of more than 13.1 feet offered it a perfect balance. The main hunting method was its smell, so no matter where you hide, the Giganotosaurus could track you and possibly devour you as if you were its prey.
Don't most other predators do that as well?
Being a bipedal predator, its lower extremities were really strong, with a long tail that was used as a counterbalance and balance when moving. It's known that its hunting technique was the ambush, and that it usually hunted slow animals, such as sauropods. Among them are the Diplodocus, Apatosaurus, Barosaurus, and others.
This is probably the craziest statement that I ever heard of in the entire history of me watching paleontology videos. None of these sauropods coexisted with the Giganotosaurus. All of them lived in the late Jurassic.
Number 3. Utahraptor. The name of this peculiar predator derives from the area of origin in which it was found, the famous and desert state of Utah in the United States. It's believed that it only lived during the inferior Cretaceous period.
Inferior Cretaceous period? Do you mean early Cretaceous?
And it was probably the largest raptor that ever existed, since it was about 23 feet long and 6.56 feet high. Its incredible claws of almost 11.8 inches make it a threat for its prey. We're sure you wouldn't have enjoyed a visit to Utah in that time.
It probably would be okay as long as I don't provoke them.
No feathers have been found directly from the specimens of this animal, but it's known, thanks to the phylogenetic support, that all of the dromaeosaurs had them. That's why most recreations of this fearsome predator are covered in feathers, so many upper, lower, and tail. It is well known that it was much stronger, bigger, fearsome, and agile than its famous cousin, the Velociraptor.
Okay, probably not as agile.
It would not be wise to underestimate them despite his giant hen look. Number 2. Carnotaurus.
It's pronounced Carnotaurus, at least you spelt it correctly.
This incredible predator lived in the middle of the Cretaceous era, about 112 million years ago.
This is literally the same mistake as Spinosaurus. Carnotaurus lived around 194 million years ago.
During the Cenomanian period.
I'm not going to explain again like I did with Spinosaurus.
It was found on the African continent and measured about 42.6 feet long.
It's probably a bit shorter at 39 feet.
And 9.8 feet high. In its reign, it shared the same time and stay with the Spinosaurus. The name derives from the Latin, which means lizard shark teeth.
Shark-toothed lizard. You got the positions wrong.
In fact, his bite was as lethal as its aspect, thanks to a series of teeth that tore the meat of its prey, letting them bleed. This amazing predator weighed between 6 and 15
The lower estimate is accurate, the upper estimate is ridiculous.
tons. Although this animal had large dimensions, its power to bite was not so good, in contrast to one of its opponents, the Giganotosaurus. But it had a similar strength to the Spinosaurus, which made it able to raise with its jaws various prey of a maximum of 881.8 pounds, simulating a kind of crane from our current world.
I think this Carnotaurus is kind of outdated. The concave model still isn't there, so a better one would be Monsters Resurrected Carnotaurus.
Before naming the number one position of this top, we must name some great predators that lived with the dinosaurs. One of them was the Mosasaurus, which lived in the late Cretaceous and was no less than 56 feet long.
It's actually just 42 feet long.
Enough size to be the main character of one of the most famous scenes of Jurassic World.
But, of course, it is incredibly oversized.
As in the time of the dinosaurs, the danger also came from the air. We cannot fail to name the
Quetzalcoatlus.
a flying animal that with its fully extended wings could reach 10 meters of wingspan, and whose bipedal posture could be as tall as a giraffe. Now let's check the number one. Number 1.
This is just incredibly predictable. Also, this T-Rex looks like it's starving.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not only is it the most famous dinosaur thanks to the movies and documentaries on TV, but also because it was the most dangerous predator that has ever existed. It lived in the Cretaceous
And this T-Rex looks like it's from a game, and it looks more like a robot than a T-Rex.
period, where it was common to see them devouring a Triceratops or similar prey. It measured 42.6 feet long
It's around 40 feet long and can go longer.
and 13.1 in height, measuring between 5 or 8 tons.
An average T-Rex is around 8 to 9 tons in mass. Some specimens like Scotty is even larger than that, and even if it's an average T-Rex, it still makes it the largest terrestrial carnivore.
Which is what an adult African elephant weighs nowadays. The largest skull ever found of a tyrannosaur measured 5 feet long. The rear area is extremely wide, which allowed it to have a moderated binocular vision. If you've visited a museum, you'll know that the T-Rex teeth have heterodontes, which means they were of different sizes.
I think most other predators have the same feet.
Their peculiar edge made them a mortal trap for its victims. The largest tooth ever found to date measured 11.8 inches in length, the same size as the rule you use to make your homework. Ironically terrifying. If you like,
This is the end of the video. Gotta say, I have literally almost nothing to say about this video to generalize it. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.